Welcome to Two Heavens. A lot of you might have seen this mudra on the internet being used by quite a few eminent personalities. Now, most of you might just be knowing that this is a mudra called a power mudra, which is being used in the Mikio system of the shinobis of Japan, which is part of the Kujikiri series. You might also see this as a mudra called the Uttara Bodhi mudra in yoga. But has anybody ever had the question in their mind as to what this really means? What is its relationship with the body? How does it work? What does it really do to manifest this? And what does it connect with? But today I'm going to explain all of this to you. First off, I'm going to explain what the origin of this mudra is. Then I'm going to explain to you the reason for it, as in how it connects with the human body in which parts. Then I'm going to explain the mythology of where the origin of this mudra started, as well as the explanation of that mythology, because there's a subtle understanding and underlying moral to it. And after that, well, we'll see. But first, let's start with the origins. First, let's get down to the origins. At the turn of this century, I was initiated in a system of breathwork, or Pranayama as it's commonly called in yoga. And this system was developed by a South Indian sage by the name of Agastya Muni. Agastya Muni called it the Kevala, Kumbakha Pranayama system. And he is the progenitor of my sampradaya, or tradition, as we can call it, of Kalaripaitu, which is the Tekken school. Kalaripaitu could be considered by some as the mother of most Southeast Asian martial arts, and its reach has gone all the way to China with Kung Fu, and down up to Japan as well, in the Mikio system, which is where you might find this, part of the shinobi's Kujikiri system, or the 9 gates. Anyway, back to the tradition. This was developed to improve focus for warriors. As they were going onto the battlefield, it helped them with battlefield awareness, the resolute acceptance of death, as well as dealing with battlefield anxiety. It was the anxious that sometimes get killed. But those that managed to control that anxiety increased their focus, and they responded to the battle instead of reacted to it. And this was a way of surviving. And this is the first of the mudras. Very important. Now we shall get down to the explanation of how this coincides to which part of the human body and what it does. Now the physical meaning of the mudra. But first, let's call it by the name which I have learned to call it. This is called the Vajra Mudra. Vajra, or thunderbolt, or diamond. Why is it like a diamond? Well, this is connected directly to your pineal gland. You want to know how? It's very simple. Let's take half the mudra. It's the mudra. This is half the mudra. It's a span. Place your thumb here and go all the way back and press down. You will find an almost sweet spot, a little sensitive area. Now, that specific spot, one thumb in to your head, you will find your pineal gland. Very important gland. In fact, you'll find it bandied around the internet quite a lot these days, saying activate your pineal gland. Listen to these sounds and vibrations. It was part of the Gateway program in the CIA and things. So it was a very important gland. Then And it's now starting to make a resurgence, although it's been in every human body. Now that gland is like a small little diamond, pea-size almost. And when it's in its best form, it's like a crystal. And if it's in its calcified form, it's almost like sand, gritty. And in our world nowadays, with all the toothpaste that we're using and fluoride that we consume, it's starting to calcify that gland and remove the connection that we have. But let's also finish understanding this span. So that's your pineal gland. Here, you'll find your pituitary. Again, one thumb in, amygdala on both sides, hypothalamus on top. Let's go further down, shall we? Thyroid gland. Thymus gland. Further down. Pancreatic. Further down. Adrenal. And then finally all the way down to the genitalia. So now you see, this is what the meaning of this mudra is. It's a measurement, hidden measurement that is specific to you. This span is your span. Same way it is mine. So 7 of these will give you your chakras. I like to refer to them as the endocrine system, which is what they normally are in medical terminology. Chakras is a lovely term, but let's not get lost there. Let's stick down with facts. Now, I'd like to explain to you the mythology behind it, so you can understand why it's associated with the pineal gland. Let's get down to the mythology of this. The mudra is called Vajra, and it's associated with a specific god on a different level, on an astral plane. There's a god called Indra. And Indra was the leader of the gods, king of the gods. And he, one day, was very disrespectful to his master, his guru, his teacher. And his teacher decided he was not having any of this disrespect, and he left him. So Indra now had to fill the void. He had to find another master. He didn't find another master in the form of Vishwarupa. Now, Vishwarupa was half a god and half a demon. And he acquiesced to Indra's delusion, disrespect. So, what Indra did was he followed Vishwarupa's advice and he beat quite a few of the demons in quite a few of his campaigns. It was very successful. But Vishwarupa, being half a demon, one day decided to offer sacrifices to his demon brothers. Indra was not having this at all. So what did he do? He cut off the head of Vishwarupa. This angered Vishwarupa's father. And Vishwarupa's father was a god himself. He was the architect of the universe in many ways. Divine architect. So he created a demon called Viritra. Viritra was this dragon demon that had tremendous power. He could absorb other people's power. So all the gods tried to fight against him. And he just absorbed their power. The other thing about Viritra was that he could hold back and control water. So the gods tried to campaign against Viritra and it did not work. And this left Indra perplexed. So what did he do? He went and approached the Creator, Brahma, and he asked him for a solution. Now Brahma said that the only way that you'll be able to defeat Viritra is if you go and seek out the great sage Daliji. and ask him for his bones. And once he offers his bones, you are to formulate a weapon from this. And with this weapon will you be able to defeat Viritra. So Indra went to Dadichi, and Dadichi was an ancient sage. He literally held all the power of the universe. It was coursing inside. And he knew that this sacrifice would be asked of him. So spontaneous human combustion happened, and all that was left was his bones, specifically his head and his spine. With this, Indra fashioned a weapon called the Vajra, thunderbolt, with which he attacked Viritra and destroyed completely. So now we see the mythology of Indra, the head of the gods, defeating Viritra with the thunderbolt. Now don't you see that the dark clouds form and then the thunder strikes and there's rain? And rain quenches the earth, which is what happened when Indra killed Viritra. Because Viritra held back the waters, and now the waters fell upon the earth. And once they fell upon the earth, they nourished the earth. That is the myth. Next is the explanation. The explanation of the myth. Sounds very far-fetched, doesn't it? Gods, demons, sages bursting in flames, handing over their bones to be turned into thunderbolts. But these are stories which are meant to pass the test of time. And it's only those with deeper insight that might be part of a sampradaya, an acolyte or an apostle, or somebody who has a deeper understanding that has been passed down from their masters or gurus, to be able to figure this out. So I'm going to explain this for you. Indra is all of us. It's our ego. We are the head of our own divinity, aren't we? And his drawback was that he did not listen to his masters. He did not listen to his elders. He did not listen to wisdom and deluded himself. He took a half-truth, a half-god, a half-demon. It's a half-truth. It's a delusion. And Indra was so deluded in himself that he decided to go ahead with this delusion. It helped with a few battles. He won against the demons. But then he convinced himself that this delusion was all that was important. Unfortunately for him, it stopped working. Why? Because he cut off the head of this delusion. And he made it his own delusion. Now this delusion was holding back everything. This delusion was spirit. And became a personification. Now what did Indra do at this point in time? He had to go back to the Creator, to go look within himself, to go and find what the answer was to destroy this delusion. And what was the answer? The answer was to find power in an old sage, old wisdom. And this old sage gave his bones, literally. We all have bones. We all resonate with divinity. But how many of us actually accept it? So, where did Indra took Dadichi's bones and he fashioned a lightning bolt. And this lightning bolt he used to defeat this delusion and destroy it. So much so that you think that when you open up your pineal gland, thousand-petal lotus, the Sahasrara as we call it in yoga, when you see it in old Buddhist monks, it's literally almost like a pineapple that's opened up. A beautiful lotus in Milky Ways, crystalline. But now, have you seen how many people have had their pineal glands literally almost covered up, calcified? They live in their own delusion. They don't know their gender. They have no idea who they are. They dive into the deep end of hedonism just to find an escape, because they will not allow themselves the truth. And what does Vajra do? The Pranayama. It cuts through this. And if you see the influential people of today facing off others with delusion, they use this mudra. Very successfully so. Because it's used to cut through the delusion that others are throwing upon them. Because they're making a connection with the divine and letting the divine speak through them. So the only way that you can actually use this mudra is to accept that you are part and parcel of consciousness. You are consciousness, but there's a super consciousness above you. And you must connect with that super consciousness. That's what Vajra does. And when you connect with that super consciousness, you can only speak truth, divine truth, truth that cannot be argued with, truth that resonates in your bones. And you become that lightning bolt of wisdom. Then, once you pierce the veil of ignorance, do you actually allow the nourishing waters of knowledge, which then transcends into wisdom, which transcends into altruism, which finally sublimates into love, which is what the world needs right now. A lot more love. And the only way that we can start to love each other is by understanding that we need to love ourselves first. Now you wonder what this has to do with the pineal gland and with the mudra. So let's ascribe the physical attribute to answer the question that most of you might have at this point. The pineal gland's main function is to secrete melatonin, which helps us to sleep. We cannot survive without sleep, which is necessary for overall health. Sleep deprivation can have many adverse reactions to the human body and to the mind. It's being used as a weapon of interrogation and torture by many intelligence agencies. And a practice that some very extreme believers of Tantra use to attain certain mystical powers and siddhis, as they call them. But that's another story. Sleep is considered as the gateway to our spiritual belief. Some of us dream, and there have been so many theories based on the various stages of sleep as our brain waves change, depending on how deep your sleep is. And to modulate our brain waves in our waking state and use it to access our spiritual side, which is its greatest connection. And this connection is our connection to God, the Supreme, the Divine. Call Him, or whatever you want. So accessing the wisdom of the Divine is no wonder that it comes naturally to certain people. Some people, they don't know why they do this, but they just do this. And they're able to, like I said, face off against the ignorant. And this allows them to have the power of the universe flow through them. I hope this little introduction into the Kevala Kumbakha Pranayama system has piqued your interest, especially with the first mudra. There's still another 9 more to go. And if you're really interested in changing your life and improving it, and dealing with depression, anxiety, and discovering yourself, then I suggest that you download our mobile application. The link is below. for either Apple or Android. The first week is free for you to try out. It's the simplest part of the program. You have to complete 6 days and take a day off, because even God rested on the seventh day. The first week is just a basic exercise. It starts to improve from the second and third week. You only get to the mudra in the fourth, because you have to prepare yourself for it. You have to prepare your body, your mind, your spine, everything. And that is very important. If you want it to work, you're going to have to follow the system. This is a martial arts system, which means that you need to train. You cannot, this is not some novel that you can open it and, like cheat and come up all the way to the back at the end and find out, oh, that's what happened. No. You're going to have to find out for yourself. You're going to have to take your own journey into your mind, sort out your issues. This is just to help. You will be able to deal with your depression, your anxiety, if you have any. If you want, you will find focus. You will also find your clairvoyance, and will be able to manifest properly. This is not easy. This is not some tape which you will get. You just listen to the summons of the universe and magic happens. I mean, if it's that easy, it would be suspicious. Don't you think? So, here, it's entirely up to you. Download the program, start using it, and see how it will change your life. It has already changed the life of quite a few people that I have taught the system to. But that's entirely up to you, right? I really do wish you well and hope that you join us on this journey to heavens and improve your life. Next week, or next time, we will do the second mudra in the program called Shakti, which is energy. Until then,